put the link in the description below. But it's this stream of this drunk live poker or high stakes poker with Patrick Antonius and a couple of other people, and like some rich English guy who gets so drunk that he can't play, and they like get somebody over to help him get out of the place.
Oh my god!
What
stakes were they playing?
I think they were playing 50, 100. I mean, they're a bellotto. I mean, they're just gonzo. The stream starts with Patrick being like, everyone has to take the shot before we start, before the first hand stuff, and it just gets out of hand. So worth the watch if you need some laughs. There's a short version and then there's the full stream. You can just watch the highlights.
Interesting. Patrick Antonius is a scary man. Ex-tennis pro. Also, David. I didn't know David Benjamin until a few days ago was also an ex-tennis pro.
Really?
Just because I guess his figure doesn't necessarily look the most fit now, but yeah, he was an ex-tennis pro.
Yeah.
But yeah,
wow.
Interesting. But yeah, I'm sure Patrick Antonius is a very sought-after man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Finish model, rich.
He was like age deep and was still just stone face. But you can tell they're all getting drunker by the way that when they're trying to sit still, they start
swaying.
Yeah. Oh boy, it's bad. You can just tell because they're just trying to hold it together, but they're kind of going like this. And, it's like you just know. It's like you literally can't sit still.
I've been watching a lot of footage from the $1 Million Cash Game season.
Yeah, those are fun.
That's been interesting. I think I'm on season 5 right now, but those are fun to go back and watch. Those old school
speaking
players.
of watching those, Bryce, I know what the poker topic of the day is. We were discussing study habits and how to implement them.
For sure.
So, me personally, I keep a notebook. I like to go through whatever I do watch. I like to take notes on. So, most of the time, if I'm watching like a stream of something, so like Party Poker has been putting out like streams of old Party Poker Millions events. So like I watched the final table of Party Poker Millions from 2018, and that was a really cool final table. And like you see different things and how people play the hands with ICM, and you pause and you have to think about like, what would I do in this situation facing a cutoff open off of 13 big blinds on a final table of a tournament like this. And so like that's one way to study, and I think that's a fun way to study, is to watch streams or something that you can not necessarily watch mindlessly, but you can watch and like you see spots that will make sense to you.
Yes and no. I mostly agree. I think you need to be doing studying outside of streams also. Just
absolutely.
People have completely different strategies. I mean, it's definitely good exposure, and I watch a ton of streams, ton of podcasts. I'm absorbing poker content literally all day. Like I watched the Solve for Why podcast or whatever, and then after and before that, I was watching Nimi play. He's running deepish. He's about to be in the money in the $1,500 event that the bracelet event he's playing down in Mexico. So yeah, definitely absorbing a lot of content. I think step one after your sessions is just recording how you did your plus minus. A lot of people don't even do that. Literally step one. If you want to be a professional, you have to treat it like a professional. Even if you're an amateur player, you need to try
I'm a for-profit player, and I'm still like, I obsess about numbers and statistics, so I have to track what's going on.
And Ryan has an app, for example, that I'm sure we've discussed a few times, where it tells you by location, by weekday. So Ryan, for example, sucks on Sundays, but he's amazing on Wednesdays.
On Wednesdays.
And that kind of tells him a little more about his win rate and kind of if he can translate something he's doing into Wednesday into Sunday. So this podcast, for example, he thinks really helps him just get in the mindset to play hands. Whereas Sunday, sometimes he just hops right in and tries to grind.
Right.
So just kind of learning what works best for you, what locations are most profitable for you. But that's step one. So step two above that is recording your hands. So if you're put in an interesting spot and you're just wondering, what do I do? It's really important to find poker community. For example, we have a main group chat that's called Hand History Lounge that doesn't really go over many hand histories. But then we also have a group chat with our friend Evan, which we like to post our interesting spots, as well as I'm in School of Cards, and we post our different hand histories and have each other review it and give very, very detailed responses. So that's definitely been advantageous. And even if you want to do, if you're willing to shell out, I think it's like $20. Andrew Nemi has a Hand History Lounge where they also go over stuff. But feel free to submit to the podcast as well, and we'd love to give you our input. But yeah, you definitely have to review how you're playing these spots and taking that a step further. Watching these streams, thinking about how to play these spots. At the end of the day, you have to go out and implement them. Like, if you want to have a strategy where you're not just playing complete ABC nit poker, you got to start implementing it. You got to open up your hand ranges. You got to try to balance your ranges a little bit more. I mean, I'm not saying to spaz out, but like, if you're trying to improve your game, you definitely have to actually put it into practice. And I mean, don't be afraid to try stuff out. Like Evan actually was talking to me about how he's moved down in stakes a little bit, not because he took a hit to his bankroll at all, just because he's experimenting with different stuff. And obviously, different strategies aren't going to work the same in different stakes. But I think that's awesome to kind of just move down and
give it a shot,
tweak your strategy a little bit. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, because you know whatever variance you experience will be less painful for you when you're trying to try these new things. I get that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think one of the things for me that helped a lot is doing legitimate range analysis. Like you don't have to like download something for it, but if you pull up a range and think about like what hands that you play, and you go through a session that you play, and you look at the hands that you played and how you played them, you're gonna look at that range chart and be like, I played that wrong. Like you're gonna see a bunch of different spots where you just make mistakes. Where you know, I overfold in certain spots where I shouldn't, where like I have an ace or something and I'm just, you know, I look at the outcome of the hand and I'm like, ooh, like I could have 3-bet there or something instead of flatting.
And it's so important to not only review your play, but don't be all loosey-goosey eating a sandwich. So in live poker, I feel like people tend to overplay their hands. I mean, it's a fact. But online, when we're playing a tournament, even if there's like a small tournament and like
it is incredible how fast
like
people bust.
People overfold so much. Literally for a 30-minute time period at a table one time Ryan was watching me at, I won 95% of hands. Like, not an exaggeration. No contest. You just have to adjust your opponents.
It was the most frustrating half an hour of my life. I was just like getting like 9-4 off. And like I even got like 2 playable hands, but then you would bet he would raise and then be like, all right, well, out of the way.
Exactly.
But yeah, you did. You literally took like 16 hands in a row.
In terms of studying ranges, I was just watching Nimi's stream, and someone was like, oh my gosh, you folded Queen Jack, but you'll play Queen 9. First of all, the Queen 9 was suited, and he was on like the button raising when it folded.
Yeah.
And the Queen Jack off was like under the gun or something, and someone was like, oh, how the heck? And he very like subtly was like, well, there's this thing called like position, and like it's where the dealer button. And he tried to. I was like, dude, I'd be so mad if someone's like critiquing my play. He handled it very diplomatically, but I don't know if I have the patience. It's really funny, though. But yeah, I mean, you need to know the difference between a 6-max chart, a 9-max chart, the difference between tournament and cash game strategy. You have to put
between your 100 big blind strategy and your 20 big blind strategy.
Absolutely.
Those are entirely different.
So Ryan probably wouldn't want me bringing this up, but Ryan went through a small downswing, and he decided to just get off the tables and just get into the lab and study, build his confidence up. Because when you're on a downswing, like, your confidence can take a hit. I've gone through it many a times. I went through it a little bit 2 weeks ago, completely back. I took a few days off, basically took a week off, played maybe one session, and then back to the grind. And
especially online, it can start to feel like, especially when you're on a downswing, it can just start to feel like you're just clicking buttons. You know, you're just
and you also just literally feel like you can't win, and even if it's like subconsciously you're making plays, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Sometimes it's totally conscious too. You're just like, man, can I, you know, if you start having the thoughts of like, can I afford to lose this? Or like, you know, am I willing to lose this in order to look like a fool? Like, you have to not care about what other people at the table are thinking about your life.
I make some donkey moves. I don't care.
Oh, yeah. And like, you know, you can't get on tilt when Bryce starts throwing the little donkey emojis at you.
No, you just gotta laugh it off.
You just gotta laugh it off. I love that stuff.
For sure. So that's a brief synopsis of study habits. Didn't really talk about the implementation too much, but Poker Journal is awesome. Make sure to go over your hands, get into the habit of writing them down. You can literally just type it into the notes section. And some people like have
if it's online
trouble
poker,
remembering.
You can pull the hand histories.
Oh, literally. Like Poker Bros has a function where you can just go
That's
back
how
to
we
your
do
session.
everything we do here. Yes. We can pull them and you can usually email them to yourself. It's amazing. Do that.
Discussing hands is huge. And I think you need to have friends who are willing to be brutally honest with you.
Yes.
Obviously, they don't need to be jerks about it. But, like, I've point blank critiqued Ryan. Ryan's told me he didn't like the way I played a hand. You have to be honest. At the end of the day, like, one hand isn't... There's no one correct way to play a hand. But there are wrong ways to play
There are 1,000 wrong ways.
It's the best way of putting that. But, yeah, poker's a beautiful game. You got to get different insights from people, and you got to put in study time. You got to put in the hours. Get better.
If you've paid attention to this podcast at all, every single guest that we've brought on here has had a different mindset about poker, has had different abilities at poker, has had different strengths at poker, and different weaknesses at poker. And like Bryce and I are the same. Like, we have strengths at poker, we have weaknesses. And it's interesting to see the differences between people.
Absolutely. And
some
people, it's that. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I don't think being a nit in like our club is the worst thing, because you still find a way to get paid. I don't know how. I guess people watch me bluff off everything, and then are like, "Oh, hey, Ryan must be doing it too."
And they're like, "Yeah, they must be buds. Like, they know each other."
I don't know, but I don't know. I mean,
you're gonna see. I got a couple hands today that are.
Speaking of, let's get right into it. Alrighty. Gosh, freaking Bovada, man. Get out of here.
Yeah, so this is against Anonymous. Jamie.
Oh, is this heads up?
This is heads up.
Ooh,
so Jamie and I do this fun little heads up thing every Saturday. We get on the morning, we play.
Raise the floor, a big boy raise. Is this an adjustment? Do you normally raise this big?
So we've been playing 51 for a while, and so buy-in, we're all 200 big blinds deep, and I think just specifically because we're so deep, you really shouldn't be opening to 3 big blinds. You should be opening to 4, because there's just so much back. And how can you expect to get stacks in if somebody 3-bets you 3x, and that 3x is like $12 instead of 6? Like, it just helps build your pots.
I think it's player dependent. I think the fact you are deeper makes it easier, but I think a standard raise 3 to 3.5x, even off these stack sizes, is okay. But given this player, I played him a million
times. Given our
times,
dynamic as well.
100% agree. 4x is totally fine. 5's totally fine open, obviously. Let's see what he decides. He flats. Okay,
flats.
Let's see a flop. 3-10-4, and Jamie decides to check it over to you. Interesting. That happened fast. Okay. So you go 4 into 8. Do you want to describe a little bit your thought process?
Yeah, so I've been doing this a lot from the button specifically when check 2, because he's been folding a lot. And what I found is, like, I didn't even necessarily have to go 4, because, if he has a 10, I'm in trouble. If he has a 3 or a 4, I'm obviously good. But there's a lot of things that he can have when he flats the big blind that just have missed entirely. There are, like, 9-8 combos that aren't going to call. There are, queen-jack combos that aren't incentivized to see a turn. But he could have a lot of draws. He can have a lot of stuff. But this folds out a lot of his range. And I honestly could have gone a little bit smaller. But it is what it is.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I like to go a little bigger against him on flops. We're totally different players. I probably would have gone like 60% here. I don't mind 50% from you. I think that's a really standard C-bet from you also.
It is.
I think you tend to size a little down, which I think plays into your strategy. I agree. I mean, obviously, 3-4-10 board isn't the wettest. There's a flush draw with some straight potential out there, but I mean, you block the straight with the 5. So I don't. Which is going to come in. I think it's fine. And when he raises you to 12, I don't think you can let this go ever. There are draws that he can have, and he totally is the type to raise a 4, like totally.
100%. Oh, he's done that.
I don't think most players do. He likes to raise
9-4 off and then raise it.
Pretty good turn card. Brings in another flush draw, but makes you open ended. I'm sure he bets into you.
He does. He goes half pot, I think, 17-5.
17-50. Interesting. Wow. Oh. Interesting.
So I go for the raise here. I double block the straight. I'm open-ended, and I want to put pressure on things that are like his flush draws here, because he didn't 3-bet me. Like, if he has a 10, it's probably a weaker 10 too, and I have all of the stronger 10s. So if he has something like 9-10, Jack 10, Queen Jack, I don't know, like hands like that, this is going to put pressure on them. They're probably not folding here, but they can fold to a river jam. And I want to make it look like I am going to put all the money in the middle on this river, whatever it comes.
Okay, so assuming, let's say it's a queen of spades, what do you plan on doing on this river?
If check 2, I'm going to shove.
Okay. I'm assuming that's because you said you want to make it look like you are. You weren't
Right.
necessarily saying that you were going to do that, so that's interesting.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I think that's interesting because if he calls you, it's just so interesting. Like, I don't know if this is the best place to raise. Yes, you double block, but with 2 flush draws out there, I think against a sticky opponent, he's not going to fold. I don't think he's folding a 10 here ever, to be frankly honest with you.
Yes.
I don't know the results of this hand, and I think it's really interesting watching it basically real time.
Yeah.
Well, not real time, you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't love it. Well, I'm interested to see how it plays out. I don't even know what insight to give. Because when he flats you, do you just put him on a flush draw?
I put him on it. I think when he flatted it and didn't just jam over the top.
I agree. I think ace 10 jams and he set jams. I think
that's what I was talking about. Was like I can raise this and maybe his draws will flat, but if he has something, I mean that's the problem. Is if he's ahead there, he should probably just.
If a heart comes and he checks, do you take the free check or do you still barrel? Diamond, I'm assuming you probably still barrel.
Yeah, diamond and barrel.
If the heart comes out, what your plan was?
Probably. Oh man.
I mean, I don't know what comes. I'm assuming it wasn't a heart based on your
Yeah, it wasn't a heart.
Queen of clubs, close enough. Interesting. Checks, and I'm assuming a jam. Unless, interesting. Okay.
Yep.
I love the jam. Obviously,
I had to follow through with it.
You have absolutely no choice, and I think that really the only hands you should be afraid of are like Queen 10. If he has Ace 10, I think he would have jammed. 10 Jack, I can see flatting, but I honestly think he would have jammed. King 10 jam, I don't know. I guess the Queen's kind of irrelevant. You're repping
sets and 5-7 first straight.
That's the issue. I mean, yes, it's heads up.
Yes,
but when you raise pre-flop, I mean, it's not really in your range. You don't really have 3s, 4. I mean, I guess you do. It's heads up.
You do
of course
technically.
You're gonna raise
yeah,
3s,
exactly.
4s, and 6s. It's just interesting. Like the board obviously favors the caller's range. Like,
I honestly am curious as to what he ended up putting me on that caused him to fold. Or well, he
folds.
He decides to fold.
I don't know what the hell he has, to be honest with you.
Would you like to know?
8, 9 of hearts.
He had ace of spades, 10 of clubs.
Wow.
He had ace 10.
Wow. I am shocked.
And when he told me that,
shocked that he didn't jam turn.
I could not believe that he had. I mean, I couldn't fathom how he folded that river. I couldn't fathom it.
I don't hate the river fold, to be honest with you.
Yeah, really.
Well, I do hate it. I think turn he has to jam.
Has to jam, 100%.
You can have draw like no river is gonna be good for him. If it's a heart, he's like shit. If it's a diamond, he's like shit. If it's an overcard, he might fold. I mean, at this point, I think he's putting you on way stronger than a single pair.
Yes.
But if you're gonna call turn, you have to jam. I'm not saying he has to call turn. If you just decide that this fairly nitty player has it, you can fold. But you cannot call and then fold to a Queen of Clubs river. You just can't.
That's the problem. That was the real problem, was that I had ranged him to a weaker 10. Yeah. And I think that a weaker 10, there's a little bit more of an argument because there's more hands that I can have that beat you. But here with ace 10, I don't know about it. I don't know if I could find a fold. Given the action, it's tough.
While I mildly insulted your turn play, I was wrong. First of all, I thought ace 10 he would have called you down with, and I misread the opponent. I guess that's probably our images. I think he would have jammed that on me, 100%. I think he would have jammed on me. But I do want to applaud you going with it and jamming river. I mean, obviously that's your plan, but I think Ryan a year ago would not have considered doing this. That wouldn't have been a thought in your mind. Literally not in your mind. So very happy to see you follow through with it.
Bryce, you're gonna be even happier with the next hand.
Oh well, I cannot wait to see. Let's get it. But nice hand.
Thank you.
Well played, my friend.
Yeah, that was a very good session for me. I think I really I ran well, and every bluff that I made worked. It was just one of those heads up sessions where they're always high variance, and sometimes you end up on the absolute other side of that. Where every time you go for a bluff, you just get snapped off by the nuts, and every time you play a value hand, somehow they show up with a better one, and like that happens, and I did that to him, and it feels horrible when it happens to you, but it's great. It's great when you're on the winning side of it.
Oh, absolutely. I was upstuck yesterday and a little frustrated. Whenever I'm upstuck, I'm always like, dude, like, chill out. Like, you're having a winning session. You're playing. I think I played really well. I didn't make any ill-timed bluffs. I've gotten a little out of line in some rivers where when he calls a big turn bet, he's calling me like on almost any river, and I've finally adjusted to that. But yeah, had a good session. It's the first time I played him. What the heck? Does the suit have $13 in front of him?
What are you talking about?
The hand you sent me. Punnett has $13.
Oh no, you should not have 13. You should have 50. Who is that? Punnett?
Oh, maybe it was the end of the thing or something. Oh no, it's good. It's good. I don't know. It popped up as 13. I was so confused. Okay. I was like, why are we reviewing this?
Yeah, so we're heads up. This is like we had we literally just opened up this. It was actually just kind of funny that it shows a full table because we had opened up a 6 max or a 9 max like this, and he and I have been playing heads up for a bit, and obviously like he bought in for less, and that's fine. And I guess it has something to do with your strategy. I mean, it should when you're double over what the person has. But yeah, I mean, to this point, I've played with Punnett a considerable amount. I have him tagged as a fish because he makes really weird plays at weird times. But you're going to see this is a particularly interesting hand. So I'm with King 3 here. We've been playing for a little bit, probably like this is like 20 hands in. And I'm still at the point here where from the button, you should be opening 100% of hands to start with in a heads up match. And that, I mean, everything. I mean, if you get 5 deuce off, you're opening it up. And you do that until you start to get a sense of how your opponent reacts from the big blind and what percentage of hands they fold. So, typically I do it like for the first 20 hands-ish and see if there's like a pattern. And then you can start folding like the bottom 10%. So King 3 is an open here. And if you push play, I open it to 240. I open it 4x.
He did 4x, he called.
Oh, yeah, and he
calls. Already zoomed through that. He's checking here like 100% of the time. 240. I think that bet's totally fine on this board.
Yeah, half pot, especially on a Jack Deuce 3 board with a flush draw. I don't think it's like you could make an argument for making it a little bit bigger, but that's neither here nor there.
I think it's totally fine. Turn comes a queen. I'm assuming he checks it over to you, and I'm sure you see that again.
Yeah, I'm gonna barrel here twice because I should show up with all the queens and the jacks here. I should have them more often than he does. So I bet half pot again. There's more of an argument for sizing up on that turn.
I think you should size up.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's almost weird. Oh my god. What?
Yeah. So things got interesting. So here's what happens. So it zoomed through, so you saw the action that occurred. But so he flats the turn bet, and then all of a sudden on the river fires out for a bet of $31. He more than double bets the pot. He over 2x the pot is his bet. And so I'm sitting there like, what in the world? And it honestly, what's funny is I look back and it only took me 6 seconds to call.
You're a sicko.
And I am a sicko. And
I don't like this call. You're a sicko.
You literally typed in chat like, what a ridiculous call. But here, I'll tell you 2 things. Number 1, it was a timing tell. As quickly as it fired it off here was how quickly he fired off that bet.
I think he does that, though.
I'd seen him do it several times, and here's the problem is that most people weren't calling him. And I think that a good percentage of the time when he was doing that on rivers, that he was honestly overbet bluffing. And so, yes, when the 4 rolls off, he fires
35 into 20?
Yeah.
So you're risking. You're telling me.
Yes.
You're risking $35 to win a $55 pot. Well, that'll be 85. And you think you're right.
Yeah, against him, yes.
Okay, so what if he has, like, deuce 4? He totally bets this way. Ace 5, 5, 6. Like...
He doesn't have ace 5. I've never...
He doesn't... I agree with you, he doesn't have a queen, because he plays his queens way more aggressively. Either the 4 helped him, or it didn't.
The check call, overbet river is just such a weird...
I agree. When the story doesn't make sense, I make hero calls.
Overbet river when nothing gets there. The diamond draw bricks out. I guess if he had 5, 6, which doesn't make sense given the action, he probably would have folded flop, and he definitely would have folded turn, unless it was literally 4 or 5, 6 of diamonds. Like, that's the thing is, like, when I was sitting there, when this river rolled off, I was like, this is a brick. And when he fired that bet, I was just, there was no belief at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a sick call. One that I'm known to make ace high calls, like just ridiculous, insano boards. Like, that's a sick call, man. Nice call.
Thank you.
I don't know if I agree with it, but but I mean, you were right, and this is a player who's capable of doing it. And worst case scenario, you punt $35 to a fish that you'll probably get back.
That's kind of how I felt about it too.
I like it. Well played, sir. Alrighty, we've got 2 more hands for you. We've got is this another hero call?
Yeah, scroll down. That's not the right one.
Oh, you can see it. Oops. What do you mean it's not the right one? We've already done it?
You just did the hero call one.
Oh, it says hero one. When you said what the heck?
You want to go to
1? Oh, you're right. I didn't scroll down far enough. Alright, deuce. Alrighty. I like your title names, even though you know I'm normally the only one who sees them.
I know you are the only one who sees them.
I appreciate it,
them, but I do. I like to title the hands.
Alrighty. See what we got here. It looks like 6-ish handed. Is it 6,
yep.
7?
30-60. We're 6-handed. We're approximately an hour and a half into a 3-hour session, so we're about halfway through the session. Things are obviously going well. We're at 256. We bought in for 120, so we're doing well. And yes, so here's what we're talking.
I like the 4x, by the way.
Yes, we're playing 6 max. We're under the gun. We have deuces. Sure, perhaps this might be the rock bottom of your under the gun opening range, but I don't think there's really an argument against opening deuces here, and especially given the table that I'm playing. You're to my left, which you could say is an argument not to open deuces.
Oh, I'm in this hand? Ooh, fun.
You fold. You're the lady with the emo hair to my left who's folding right now. So you fold. So there is an argument against it because Bryce is aggressive and 3-bets a lot. So opening weaker hands from under the gun isn't
I actually think I had a decent hand, now that I think about it. I think I remember you opening to 4x, and I was like, oh, like...
I'm out of the way.
I think I let go, like... No, it wasn't that pretty. It was like ace-jack off or something. But, anyways, I think that a lot of people in our club have sizing tells from early position. Literally, when they have it, they go to 240. When they don't, they go to 180. And I abuse them so hard with nothing. So you go into 240 here, like, I would look to probably 3-bet or fold an ace-jack off. But because you went to 240, literally I folded. Like,
interesting.
That's small amounts.
Well, you're going to love this. So we get 2 flats and then a raise from small blind.
960,
I'm calling 100%.
I'm sure. I'm just hoping Eddie doesn't jam, which is the only issue.
Yeah. That's the only problem. And so, I flat, Fanakai flats, and Eddie folds, which is interesting that he put 240 in and then folded after he was getting odds sitting.
All right. Wow. Tough flat for you. You're checking over 100% of your range. Actually, no. Okay. I forgot who was in position. The pre-flop raiser.
The pre-flop raiser checks it. And so in this position with bottom set, I think it's worth betting. And I bet really small. I go 1/3 pot. I down bet significantly. I could be doing this with a lot of things. My range is entirely uncapped. So, I mean, I could be doing this with everything from
Do you
aces
think you
to
bet this small?
deuces.
Let's say you have Jack 9 of hearts, obviously standard-ish open. Do you
Would I
think
bet this
do you
small?
think you bet the size? I actually think you apt more towards 13 to 15. If I know
Probably
you, I
with
would be
top
significantly
pair
more
really.
scared by a $10 bet from middle position after
It's
someone
under
out of
the
position.
gun.
Like I would be afraid
Yeah.
of a set. I would put you on probably nines.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
No.
I would
The
honestly,
interesting thing is, I wouldn't. I'd put you on fours for this specific reason. You would check nines. You check top set 100. I've never seen you not
bet top
check
set.
which I understand. Obviously, it's hard to get value, especially on this board. Where are they going to call it?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'd put you on four specifically if you made this bet. Obviously, I'd be wrong. But all right, a call. What do you put? Two overs? King, queen, ace, king. Ace,
Exactly. There's a lot of possible
all right,
things.
damn good turn card. You can hope they have a four. I'm interested in what you size. Interesting.
I go to half pot. I honestly, I don't really know if there's super big argument for going any bigger with the flush draw that came in, because the fours, we could pray to God that he has a four, and we size up, they're probably going to call.
I actually don't mind sizing up a little bit, because if he has a 9, I actually think he looks to bet, and he shouldn't have too many 9s. If he has 2 overs, I think he's going to fold to a smaller bet anyway. And if he has a flush draw, he'll probably call 65% of pot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So while this is a seemingly dry board, and if he has a 4, he'll probably look to slow play that with you betting, because he might think you'll bet a 9, and if not, he might just barrel into you. So I think 50% is fine. I think 50 to 70% is fine here. I'd probably go a little bigger, but it's fine. I'm so curious as to how you size it. What the?
So he opts to lead. He opts to lead, which made absolutely no sense.
There's no question you're never not jamming this. There's $23 behind if he has like
Correct.
sevens or I don't care 9-4.
Yeah, if he river to set of sevens or set of nines, there's only he had aces. And guess the thing is, like, especially when we're ranging him here, he wasn't a flatter. Remember, he's the small blind 3-better after an under the gun open, a cutoff, and a button flat. He 3-bet way too small, by the way.
I don't think I like how he played flop. I think if you're betting, I think you probably have a 9. Like most of the time, like in his position, like not knowing what I know about you as a player, what do you bet? Yeah, you bet a set, which he can maybe pot control in turn. But I think he needs to be raising this flop. Like, because a 9, you're not going to get value from if another overcard comes on the turn.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, like, turns a jack, you're not getting money.
I feel like he needs to try to get value on the first street, because, and if you have a hand like 3-5 or something, like, I don't know why you'd have that. I guess the flat's okay. You have all the sets. He has none of them. This board doesn't hit his, like, although I don't know.
I don't know about the river lead either, because that's the thing is, like, especially when you're leading this river.
I think the river lead's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Like, check call. Like, he's been the aggressor the whole way. What do you think? Do you think a 9's going to check to you here?
Do you think a 9's going to check?
Maybe. And a 4 has you
crushed. Give me action.
Like, I just don't get it. Like, yes, the money's going in anyway, but, like, if you have any bluffs here, you jam. If you have a 9, you jam. He snaps you. Like, I guess he's just worried that if you have a 9, you'll check back.
Yeah.
Would you? I think it depends on the strength of a 9. I think
ace 9. Double blocks ace 9.
I think ace 9 you might bet here. I don't know. No. If you bet turn and he calls, I think you check with ace 9. So I guess that's it. But he blocks ace 9, obviously. And is ace 9 suited something you're going to be raising under the gun to 4x? Maybe sometimes.
I actually think you would. At a 6 max, yes. At a 9 max, no.
No, I agree.
Right. That's one of the edges of my range. That's one of the things that I X out.
I don't
the shorter the table, the more suited aces I add.
I don't like the jam at the end, and I don't love how she played flop and pre-flop. She should have gone bigger.
It's a she? I didn't know who that was.
Oh, that actually is a she, yes. Yeah, it's a girl.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah. So this next and last hand, ooh, we got a short pod. Maybe we can add another 5 minutes of commentary on something. Anyways.
No, we'll get plenty.
Let's get into it. So I am playing 2-4 in the heads-up battle that I've been going on We're about 10 sessions, 40 hours deep, and we're about even. I might be up a couple hundred, but nothing huge. And for 2-4, I don't even think anyone, like, I'm not even up a buy-in. So he's a very good, very competent player. And we have some fun. Action-y games, we're pretty deep. The standard raise size is 4x. Here, I don't know if I misclick. I went to 14, which I initially started doing like in the beginning, but I adjusted to 16 based on his play and how deep we would get. I think it's fine. 7-9 obviously isn't the best hand in the world, but I think
you're on the button.
From the button.
And it's absolutely not bottom 10% of your range, which is only
King 5-6. He's probably gonna check it. Oh, I know he checks it over to me, and King hits my range. We've got some equity in the fact that we have the gutter ball and 2 overs to the 5-6.
I think that's literally having the gutter ball as the. Here's the thing: is like you have to balance this range, right, on a King 5-6 board like this, where hands like 9-7 are a bet some percentage of the time, like they just can be. But you obviously have to be checking here some percentage of the time. If only, not for protection necessarily, but like I guess realizing equity is something that you can do on turns. And like 9-7 is something that if you hit your straight, it's a hand that's harder to see on the board.
So he tends to go, when there's a board like this, I feel like he normally goes like 66%. Like, I normally go like 55 to 60, the fact that there's flush draw, king on board, as well as some straight potential. So it's not, I mean, it's not an incredibly wet board, but at the same time, I like to go a little more than half pot, especially heads up. So I decide to go to 18 into 28. I think that's totally fine. I think it's
What are you thinking when he calls here?
I think his range is still so wide. Wide. He could have so many hands. That's
anything. Yeah, there's a lot of flush draws, straight draw. Yeah, you could. Okay, let's go to the turn. We can start.
Turns a jack, and he checks to me. So I think the jack actually is probably one of the worst cards in the deck.
I agree.
I because hands that he would float me with, I think he would float me with Jack Queen.
Yep.
I think Ace Jack off would probably re-raise me, but he could even have, I don't know, any. I just think a Jack totally smashes his range.
Yes,
especially
I totally agree.
When he check calls flop, and I don't imagine him having King Jack or anything of that nature. So I think I have way more 2 pairs, but I just think he's gonna. What calls flop that folds turn unless it's something like. Like, literally think of even, like, 8-9, 9-10. Those hands probably call here. I mean, depending on suit and depending on size, but, like, the Jack is a very bad card.
Jack's not a good card.
I decide to check it back, which
that's totally fair. And like we said, like, there are turn cards with 7-9 here that you're going to find a barrel on. Like,
absolutely.
If you turned a 7 here, you could probably barrel.
Even if a deuce 3, if a low card comes out, I barrel.
You can barrel.
If an ace comes out, I might even bet. I just think a jack is a horrible card.
Bad card.
Because I think an ace, good aces, he'd look to 3-bet me. Even like ace 5, ace 6 suited. Like, an ace is a way better card than a jack. Anyways, an 8 comes out, giving me the Nutter Butters. And he bets 40. We love to see this, obviously.
We do love it.
Confusing as hell.
Yeah.
Because what does he have? He's not floating flop with Jack 8, unless it's like Jack 8 of hearts, which makes some sense.
Yeah, but it's one combo. We can't range him now.
9-10, deciding to turn their hand into a bluff just with blocking the straight. That shouldn't be there all too often.
Yeah,
I should not show up with 7-9 frequently at all.
No, it's a hard hand.
Sets make some sense. Just because I was aggressive on the flop and pre-flop, he might expect me to barrel on that turn. But I think like a hand like 8-6 makes a lot of sense here.
Is he someone who, when he holds a set, tend to be like? Is he very aggressive with his sets, or
he's pretty aggressive at the same time out of position against a fairly aggressive player? I could see him checking turn, wanting to get value on the river, thinking, but what do I check? Like, what am I calling? Is the interesting thing. Like,
right?
Because if I had a king, or even if I had a jack, I'm probably betting that turn.
Exactly, that's the problem. So, is like you don't really have a king here. It's when you check turn.
I raise, and I'm trying to get value. I don't want to go too big, but I also I don't want to.
And now this guy's got to be like, what in the
I go 140. This dude's probably confused as hell. He doesn't wait too long, and he raises to 380. At this point, I'm looking back at my hand, and I'm like, does like Queen 10 make a straight? Literally,
yeah.
Like it went through my head. I was like, do I not have the nuts? Because this guy normally doesn't like spaz frequently at all, especially on rivers.
Yeah.
So I am debating between jamming. I don't have much behind now. I have. Wait, do I have? Really have 1,200 left?
Yeah, you do.
Okay, so I have 1,200 left. But if I go to like 800, I think 800 looks way stronger than 1,200. I think if I decided to check back turn with like ace deuce of hearts, which I wouldn't do, even if I just had the ace of hearts in my hand and I decided to just spaz off with this, I jam river. I don't min raise. I think that jamming looks more bluffy than raising like somehow smaller here. I mean, we can't get too nitpicky. I just rip it in. Wait, what? No, he didn't call. Did I put call? Oh, he does not call. He folded. Ignore his call. I did not win that big of a pot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, Bryce. Choosing now.
I didn't. Ignore his call.
Yeah,
he folded, and I think he told me he just had a pair. He might have said he had two pair, but I think I asked him. I was like, "What the hell did you fold?"
Yeah, something like king jack.
I think he might have just had a king. He might have had like.
He could have even had something like king 6, king 5 as well.
I think he told me he had a pair, and I believe him. I don't know. I don't remember.
That's weird though.
He might have said he had two pair.
Why would he 3-bet that river with a single pair? Like I can see it at a 2 pair, and then when he gets jammed on there, he's like, this has to be a set. I think because he's never. I don't know if he's ever.
7-9.
Really
I didn't show him. He's like 7-9 didn't make sense, and I don't think he watches too many of these. So
yeah.
Probably won't see it. But I had the Nutter Butters. Don't call rivers against me. I always have it there, buddy.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I mean, definitely good to scoop that pot and get lucky there on the river. I think I played it fine. I don't think it's too crazy of a situation. I just think it's so interesting how he played that hand, and I would love to know his
exactly what he had. I would absolutely kill to know.
Yeah,
that's an interesting hand.
Definitely some interesting hands. Anything you want to go over to discuss before we sign out?
Not really.
Not really?
You know?
How much poker do you plan on playing the rest of the month? You busy? You got any vacations coming up, or are you just grinding during COVID?
Hey, man, Mass Mutual's done a great job at, they've given us extra vacation time and stuff. So, I like to take 3-day weekends and such. But no, nothing super significant. Awesome. And I'm not of the opinion that I don't feel comfortable going to casinos yet. So I'm sticking to the online for
now. That totally makes sense. Yeah, it's not the safest out there right now. I'm going to West Virginia and near Pennsylvania, so there's a chance I'll hit up a Pennsylvania casino, but we'll see. I might just chill with my friend.
There's also been the rumor mill has it that you're going to go into Pennsylvania in order to play a WSOP event.
Rumor has it is wrong.
It is?
I have my facts incorrect, and while it is legal to play poker in Pennsylvania, only Nevada and New Jersey it's able to play in the World Series of Poker events, which is absolutely stupid. And if I had to put money on it within the next 5 years, I think that'll change. But yeah, I mean, I think it would be totally dope to fire in a $500 event. But at the same time, I love playing live events, and I'll definitely. I think my plan is to probably put about $15,000 next year into the World Series. Well, no, that's incorrect. I'll have a $15,000 package, and I think I'll have about half that myself. And I'm probably going to put it at like a 1.2 markup just for my time. But I'm not going to do just one tournament. I'm going to do how like Daniel Negreanu or Taylor Carroll recently sold the package, in that it's for like the whole event, the whole series. And I'll basically for like the big 50, I'll say like I'll put 2 or 3 bullets in. And then I'll describe refunds and all that good stuff. But I think that I could pretty easily, honestly, get $7,500. I know even family members, some friends toss me few $100, $1,000, whatever. So I think that'll be cool. Fun sweat.
I totally agree.
I think that
it's super fun also when you're staked too. Like,
for sure.
It's also like you're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the other people that you're doing it with too.
Exactly. Yeah. Last time I was staked, I made you some money, buddy.
You made me money.
Annoying thing is once I make all this money and I make more than $600 for each person, I gotta fill out W-9s for everyone. Freaking
Isn't
talking
that
a
the
lot
problem?
to my tax accountant.
Bad Beat Bryce LLC.
Hell yeah, buddy. There's a lot of work for that I've been finalizing. But anyways, I am kind of rambling. I appreciate everybody tuning in to this podcast. Feel free to shoot us your hand histories. Please, please, please send us any ideas you have for this podcast. And if you'd like to be on this podcast, slide into my DMs. I know that there are a few people who are interested, and I'll get you guys set up. We just thought we'd have a chill week. Been very busy. Had some hands to pull. Figured
it's nice
to
have the two of us too, you know.
But yeah, next week we'll definitely have a guest. It is crazy. We're almost at the 4-month mark. Time has flown by. It's been a ton of fun.
You believe 4 months ago we were on Instagram Live with a piece of paper that I
cannot believe how low quality we were.
Isn't that unbelievable? One day I just texted you and you were like, "Let's do it," and 4 months later we're here.
Hell yeah,
that's wild.
But we will see you guys next week. Good luck on the grind, Ryan, and to everyone watching, and see you next week.
See you on the tables.